Hi, I'm Ananya. I'm a junior content manager with Trip 101. Today, we are heading over all the way to Bali, and joining us is Tanvi, who has recently been on a trip. She'll take us through her travel itinerary and the places that she visited, the accommodations that she stayed at. So, Tanvi, over to you. We'd like to hear from you about what do you do, where you're from, and how did you end up planning a trip to Bali?
Hi, Ananya. Thanks for having me. So, my name is Tanvi. I essentially belong to Lucknow, but I've been living in Delhi for the past 15 years. I work in the publishing industry, and currently I'm working with Oxford University Press. And talking about travel, I basically travel to get a break from monotony, to go explore new places, to eat some good food, and essentially just I enjoy being away from home and from your familiar surroundings for a while. So, briefly, that's who I am.
That's pretty great. So, what kind of a traveler are you? Do you travel quite frequently?
So, definitely, I'm not the spontaneous sort of a traveler. I like to plan my travels. So, I travel with my partner, my husband, but I also travel with friends. So, usually in a year, typically, I would try to do 2 to 3 trips, with one being a slightly bigger trip and two smaller trips that we can possibly take. Due to my motion sickness, I'm not a mountain person. I'm mostly a beach person. So I try and plan my vacations around beaches. But of course, there might be cases where I do go to the hills once in a while, but that's a short trip and that's not my preference.
So,
And
Bali was a perfect sort of vacation destination for you because it's all beaches.
yes, and also I personally like some activities in my travel. I just don't like to go and do nothing. I'm an impatient person and I like to be active. So I generally look at destinations that has these options.
Okay. Yeah. So, how did you pick Bali as the destination that you wanted to travel to this year?
So Bali has been on my mind for a while, but why I chose it this year is because now from Delhi there are direct flights to Bali. So the only reason I did not plan a trip previously was because there was no direct flight. But from this year, Vistara has started direct flights. So that was one of the main reason why I decided to go ahead with the trip. And of course, it's basically like I said, I love beaches, so Bali is perfect for that. I love food, and Bali has great local cuisine. And secondly, it's also very budget friendly in the sense it is outside of India, but it's not very expensive. So, in terms of budget, also, Bali was a great option. And of course, it came highly recommended by friends and family who had been there. So, we thought, why not?
That's pretty great. So, there were some recommendations that you said you had already gotten about the destination. So, where these were mostly from friends who had already traveled?
Yes, it was from friends who had traveled and some people within the family. So, as you know, Bali is a popular honeymoon destination from for people within India. So, we had a lot of friends who had visited Bali, not just for their honeymoon, but otherwise also. So, it came recommended from them, from colleagues, friends, etc.
Ah, okay. So, when did you travel? It was earlier this year.
Yes, it was in March. It was the last week of March when we traveled for about 8 days.
Oh, you were in Bali for 8 days.
Yeah.
How many locations within Bali did you cover during this span?
So basically, within Bali, we stayed at two main locations, which is Ubud, their main town, and also Nusa Dua. But we also traveled to Gili T, which is an island close to Bali. And from Ubud and Nusa Dua, we also did day trips to places such as Tanah Lot and Nusa Penida. So essentially, yeah, these 4 to 5 places. But we were staying in Gili T, in Ubud, and Nusa Dua.
Okay. Three locations for your stay and then otherwise day trips
Day
then.
trips, yeah.
So in March when you went, what was the weather like over there? Was it a good time to visit Bali?
So it's a good time to visit Bali in terms of budget because it's not the peak season. Your accommodation. It's, of course, much affordable. The flights are cheaper and it's not very crowded. So that way, I think it's a great time to travel as compared to, say, the October to December time where prices nearly double for everything, especially in December. In terms of weather, because monsoon had still not begun, it wasn't like we were, we met with heavy rain or rain spoiled our plans, but it was definitely warm and sometimes even hot during the day because it was that season where it's humid, but it's not raining. But the evenings were very pleasant. So that was absolutely fine. But yes, the mornings were slightly warm. So something to be careful about.
Okay, so during the day, were you mostly staying in and then venturing out in the evenings?
Not really, because of the itinerary and the limited days. I think we ventured out. To be fair, I didn't think that it was that big an issue. Of course, you need to choose your locations. You may not want to go something like the rice field where there's no cover and it's going to be very, very hot and you're going to be in direct sunlight. But otherwise, I think you can plan your day around the heat and everything. It wasn't something that was too bad or a blocker.
Ah, okay. So not that bad, but hot definitely. So you have to.
Definitely warm and hot, not pleasant, but nothing that stopped us from exploring the place.
Okay, that's pretty nice. Yeah, when you're on a vacation, you don't really want to like stay indoors, especially since you mentioned
Exactly.
you're a active type of traveler, so you don't want to stay in. Yeah. Okay, I guess it's time to now jump into what all did you do during your trip. So would you like to take over a little bit and show us maybe some pictures from your trip, cover the places that you visited in Bali?
Yes, let me just share my screen so that it's easier to show the photos also. Okay, I think we could start Ubud. So Ubud is their main town, and that was our first spot when we landed in Bali. From the airport, we directly went to Ubud, and we were there for about 3 days. Ubud is, of course, known for its art market. It's very popular there because it's got beautiful artifacts and you can shop a lot from your home and it's got beautiful pieces. So there is the art market in Ubud. We went to the monkey forest in Ubud, and monkey forest is essentially a sacred place. And as you move inside the forest, there are monkeys all around you. They're not in cages. This is just me posing somewhere in the monkey forest. But there are lots of monkeys all around, and it's very calm. It's beautiful. It's very green. So this is something you can actually do during the day. There is absolutely no issue there. So, of course, we did the monkey forest while we were in Ubud. We also went to see the rice fields, which are quite popular in Bali. So that was a few hours from Ubud. I would say around an hour when we took the bike, the Activa. So we went to the rice forest. We spent a few hours there just walking around, and we had our lunch there.
So when you landed up in Bali, this is your day one. You directly flew to Ubud.
Yes, on day one, we went to Ubud. And that day, we really did not do anything because we reached only during like afternoon. So we just went, and the first thing we did is we checked into our property and we got our Activa in place. Like we rented the Activa, we checked into the hotel, we had our lunch, and we only ventured out in the evening and we went to the main marketplace or the main road in Ubud because we didn't want to do anything else. And we visited the Ubud Palace that day in the evening. And the Ubud Palace has performances in the evening from about 7 to 9, where it's a cultural performance. So we saw that. We had dinner on that main road itself, and that was it. Day one was very, very relaxed. We didn't do anything. We just explored the main Ubud street. So that was day one. On day two, we started with the monkey forest, where in the morning we took our breakfast and then we went to the monkey forest. We spent around an hour or two in that forest and then we explored the art market. Like I said, Ubud is known for its art market. So we went and we shopped for stuff. And that day we had this popular dish called Babi Guling, which is one of their main local cuisines. It's a pork dish. So we had that for lunch. And that evening, we just went to Tana Lot, which is about a little less than 2 hours from Ubud. We took a cab called Grab. So, like you have Uber in India, there is Grab in Bali, which is easy to get. You just need to download the app and book the cabs. Very, very convenient, no language barrier. So we took a cab and we went to Tana Lot, which is basically a famous temple by the cliff, and it's known for its amazing sunsets. However, because it was cloudy, we didn't get to see the sunset, but it was quite beautiful nonetheless. So this behind me is the temple. You cannot enter inside the temple because that's not allowed in this particular instance, but you could just see it from the outside. You could explore the areas around it, and there is a beach right next to this temple. Okay. So, like I said, we didn't get to see the sunset, but as you can see, the sky is absolutely beautiful. And had it not been cloudy, we could have seen a beautiful sunset from here. So we went to Tana Lot, and the commute itself takes a lot of time. And we spent around 2 hours just exploring the place. So this was on day two.
The colors of the sky are definitely, yeah, already
It's
looking so pretty. The
It's
sun.
definitely worth visiting. I think it's a great experience. It's got lots of restaurants in the compound. So if someone wants, they can just spend the entire evening here. But we had a reservation back in Ubud, so we went back for dinner. But otherwise, there are lots of places here where you could eat as well. So you can easily spend your entire evening and dinner and then return back, head back to Ubud. And then finally, on the last day, we went to the rice fields, which, like I said, are very, very popular in Bali generally and in Ubud also. So we went to the rice fields, and this is what the rice fields look like. And you can go as far as you want. So they've carved ways for you to walk through the rice fields, but of course you would need proper footwear because it can be slippery, etc. So you need to have proper footwear, and you can walk around all of this place. But again, if the weather is better, you may enjoy it more. If it's extremely sunny and hot, you may struggle with the trek or the walk. So the rice field has those popular swings. We did not go to the swing in the rice fields. I'll come to it a bit later. But this is what the rice fields look like. We had a very nice meal here. So this is a very typical Indonesian plate. It has got rice, it's got some vegetables, it's got grilled meat on the side, and it's also got their very famous sort of a paste, a chili paste that they serve with the food. So this restaurant is just overlooking the rice fields. So it was beautiful for lunch.
Yeah, it's a really nice view to have along with a meal.
Yes. So this was all about Ubud. Along with this, we also did what is called the Instagram tour of Ubud. So it is this place called the Bali Swing. Now these swings are in multiple locations across Bali. There is one on these rice fields as well, but we went to the main Bali Swing. And so it is all on the way. So we stopped by the Bali Swing and then we moved to the rice fields. I will show you a picture of the Bali swing as well. So this is what the Bali swing is like. It's a swing at an elevated height, and it has a beautiful, gorgeous view from the swing itself. They have professional photographers here who take your photos. So they have various props. They've got this swing, they've got a sofa swing, they've got something structured like a bird's nest where you can pose. So it's essentially more for the photographs. And like I said, it's the Instagram tour of Bali. So whatever pictures you see, the typical photos that you see on a swing in a nest, they are all taken at this particular spot. Of course, it comes with a fee. The fee includes you could use all of the amenities, you could sit on these swings, you can get your professional photographs clicked, and they also serve you lunch along with this. And you can also rent dresses. I, of course, did not rent one, but there are lots of options if people want nice flowy dresses to get the perfect shot on the Bali swing. That's an option here.
Yeah, we've seen this picture quite a few times on Instagram. I think people definitely go to this spot that you pointed out.
Yes.
How far away is it from Ubud?
From Ubud, since we took an Activa, it took us around 45 minutes. And probably in a cab, it may take you around 35 minutes, but that's the sort of distance it is at.
Also, not very far.
No, it's nothing is too far within, like, even if you have to go somewhere for a day trip, I would say within an hour or an hour and a half, you will reach, depending on traffic. So Bali has a lot of traffic. So you need to just ensure that you leave at a time where you are able to beat the traffic. And this particular place, the Bali Swing, because of its popularity, it also has a queue. So to get photographed, to sit on these swings, you need to wait in a queue. So the earlier you go, the better it is, because from around 10, 11 a.m., you see the crowd start coming in.
Okay, that's a good tip. Yeah, go early in the morning so that you
Yes,
are
you
able.
will avoid the sun and you will avoid the long queues.
Okay. So, in your opinion, was this Instagram tour worth it? Like the overall experience?
I would say in terms of, so there is actually, this is literally just for photographs. There's nothing that you can explore or walk around. It is just to get these stunning photographs. But I would say it is, to me, it felt worth it because I did want to see where everyone goes to in Bali. And I had seen it so often on social media that I wanted to visit it. Of course, if you don't want to, if you're not interested in spending so much on photographs or these particular sites, then you can get a similar swing in the rice fields also. And I think that's equally fine. I wasn't aware that the rice field also had a similar swing. So I stopped at this particular Bali swing and then went to the rice field. However, if you want to skip this, I would say you can go to the rice field and get a similar shot there.
Okay. The view is pretty similar from there as well.
It is pretty similar. It's just that this is at a higher altitude, the swing, but I would say the difference is not that stark.
Okay, okay. So Ricefield is already like a sort of location on your itinerary, right? Like for
Yes,
most
and
people, they will be.
definitely everyone goes to the rice field. So depending on the time you have, if you have the time to cover both, great. If you don't, then I would say just go to the rice field where you can get all of these experiences as well. One thing that I maybe want to mention is the places we ate at when we were in Ubud, in case people find that useful. So basically, Ubud has a lot of cafes and lots of places to eat at, and a lot of those places are in the main street, the Ubud main street. But some options and some recommendations definitely have ice cream from Oops Ice Cream. It's right in the middle of that street, very easy to spot. It's got a big board and it's got some fantastic gelato ice cream. And there is this chain called Mixwe there, where you get nice cold beverages. You also get softies. So if you're shopping, you want to just take a break and have something nice to drink, I think Mixwe is the place. Babi Guling is their local dish. So if you do eat pork, I think you should definitely try Babi Guling. Other than that, the places that we ate at, there was something called Simply Social. They have great burgers and they've got good cocktails and a beautiful cafe. So you could visit Simply Social. There is Cafe Lotus, which again serves all kinds of food. It'll give you European food. It'll also give you the local cuisines. And it's got this beautiful fountain right next to it. And they have live music playing. So definitely worth a visit for dinner. I think it's prettier at night than it is during the day. And we also went to this bar called the Laughing Buddha Bar. I think the vibe was very nice. We just randomly hopped into that bar. And the other big thing is massages. I think one should always take out time for massages in Bali. And then Ubud, we went to this particular massage parlor called Jane's Massage Parlor. And I think the service was great and totally worth the money. So these are some recommendations for food and massages in Ubud.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, a lot of the things that you mentioned are quite popular in all these tropical destinations, and certainly like cold beverages, ice creams, etc. Definitely, when you're walking by on these streets, you can quickly pick them up and walk along.
Yes, definitely. And
So
healthy eating.
most of these are all on the main street that you mentioned. The
Yes,
main street.
most of them I've mentioned on the main street because it was just easier to navigate.
Okay. So how did you some of them you already mentioned that you just dropped by when you spotted them, but did you do some research beforehand also to find out what were the good establishments to see?
I did some research, but to be honest, while walking, I just decided based on how the cafe looked and if it their menu, etc. So it's very easy because they're all on the street. You can just look on either side and then decide based on what you want to eat. And the menus, etc., are all, placed outside of each cafe and restaurant. So you can flip through and then decide based on what you like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. So wherever you sort of whenever you're walking by, whatever wherever you like the vibe or you like the food, you just drop in, and most of them are turned out to be pretty good for
Yes.
you.
And online, I did check out a place called Sion House. It's a beautiful place for fine dining, sort of a place for dinner and even for lunch, I think. But you need prior reservation at the Sion House. We were unable to make that because we went to Tana lot and that took a lot of time. But if someone has time and is able to make prior reservations, then they could go to the Sion House.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that tip. Yeah. So was that all of Ubud?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's move to the next one that you visited. Was it Giliti?
It was Gili, yeah. So
Oh,
Gili is
Giliti.
outside of Bali. It's a separate island, and there are three islands. So there is Gili T, there is Gili Air, and there is also Gili Mino. But we just went to Gili T. We did not explore the other Gili islands. So
Hmm.
from Bali, you need to take a ferry to the Gili Islands. And so, first of all, from our property, we booked a cab. Again, I said like Grab. We took Grab and
Hmm.
we went to the main port of Ubud, Dangbi. And from there, we took a ferry to Giliti, which took about 3 hours. It was a direct ferry to Giliti. We did not do any prior bookings. We just went to the port and we took the next ferry. So we checked the times online and till about 11 in the morning, you have ferries every 30 minutes and then you have them during the day. So we just directly went to the port and we booked one, but you can also book them online. But because we weren't entirely sure, we wanted to go there and book a ferry.
Okay.
So we reached Gili Islands. We were there only for 2 nights. So in Gili, we were there for 2 nights. Gili is a really, really small island. Like the only mode of transport in Gili T is a bicycle. So there is no other way to explore that island. When you reach, they have horse-drawn tongas, which can take you to the hotel. So hotel pick and drop can be done via that horse-drawn tonga, but they don't take you anywhere else in the island. Other than that, you either have to walk or you need to ride a bicycle. You can rent bicycles pretty easily from the port itself, or you can just rent them from wherever you are staying. So, but
Okay.
it's quite a small island, so I wouldn't say that walking is going to be a hassle. You can walk pretty easily, but if you do know how to ride a bike, it's of course quicker and faster if you have
Hmm.
a bike.
Okay. You said the distances are pretty manageable on foot also, in case someone can't drive.
Exactly. It is. So we stayed on the main road. So there is a main road in Gili, which is where the port is, which is where your main bars are, the main cafes are, and a lot of your properties are also along that road. So
Hmm.
on one side is the beach, and on the other side are all the other establishments. So it is, of course, by the coast. So
Okay.
we stayed on that main property itself. So we quickly checked into our property, and after that, we just went and sat on the beach. There is literally, we just wanted to go and walk on the beach or lie on the beach, and that's what we did. Every property has beach beds available on the beach. Like if it's a property facing a beach, they will have a certain part of the beach cornered out where they serve you food, beverages, and they have their own beach beds. They have few chairs, etc. So we just spent the entire afternoon by the beach. We did absolutely nothing, and then we had lunch, and then we came in for a nap, and then in the evening we ventured out again for sunset. So sunsets are beautiful in Giliti, and there are some spots from where you can see them. You get a clear view of the sunset. Pink Coco is one such club, sort of a place, open club, where there is music in the evening. There is a DJ who's playing music, there is food, there is beverages, and you get to see the most beautiful sunset. Unfortunately for us, we were not very lucky with sunsets, I'd have to say. We couldn't see, it was cloudy again, so we didn't really get to see the sunset, but the skyline was beautiful. And if you can see this pink couch, so the place was called Pink Coco. So everything was in pink, but it was absolutely beautiful and stunning. So we spent the entire evening till about 6, I would say 6 or 7 p.m. We were here, which is where the DJ also shuts down after 7 p.m. So they have a fire show. You can see that all of these bean bags come with tables, and you can order food. They will serve you food, they will serve you alcohol. There are fairy lights. It's a beautiful vibe and very, very relaxing. So till about 7 p.m. we were here. And then at night, we stepped out again. So the thing with Giliti is that it becomes the vibe of that place changes from morning to night. In the morning, people are just sprawled across the beaches. At night, in the evening, people go and see the sunset. And then at night, it is popular for bar hopping. So the entire street is lined, and it's famous for barbecue. So it's got this street called the Night Market, the Night Seafood Market. It's just a small area with lots of seafood stalls, lots of options where you can choose the meat, you can choose the sauces, and they will grill it live for you and serve you the food. It's very, very fresh. So you can go and eat at that night market. The night market is local. It's of course not fancy, or you can't expect for it to have an ambience, because you just have tables laid there and you can eat your food. However, every cafe and every resort on the street serves you barbecue at night. The same thing, that they have meat, and it's for you to choose your salad, your meat, your sauces, and they will grill it for you there. So if you want to do something fancier, you can go and have your barbecue at one of these places, or you could go to the night market. We went to the night market. And then there are just open bars. You can do bar hopping. That is what Giliti is known for. It's known for its party scene at night.
Ah, okay.
So you had lots of college students, I would say, students from Australia or even from the US, those who were on a spring break or graduation parties. So you could see big groups of students emerging only at night in Giliti.
Ah,
So, and there was music, there was loud music in some places. There was, of course, all kinds of alcohol. There were lots of great cocktails, and food is barbecue food, or you have small crepe stalls on the way. So it's all on that street. You just
ah,
go around and you can go from one place to another depending on what you want to have.
okay. So Gili tea is where the young people go.
Yes, it's perfect place for party. And I'm not sure about weekends, because I was there on weekdays. On weekdays, the music is turned off at 1 a.m. So it's around 1 to 2 a.m. is when the party ends. Until then, it's very vibrant and it's
Okay.
very safe. So that's not a concern. Although it's a party place and there are bars and there are clubs, it's very safe. So you can be out in the night without Awari.
Okay. The night market that you mentioned, does it have local cuisine or do you like get regular fare as well?
No, it just has seafood and it's just a barbecue that they do with the seafood. So they've got condiments on the side. So they will have rice, they will have some salad, they will have some pastes, but your main on the main portion is basically grilled meat.
Okay, okay.
So that's it. Like that's all they serve in that market.
Hmm. So you were that night you were mostly bar hopping and at the night market.
Yes, so during the night, that's all we did. And then the next day, next morning, we went snorkeling. So Giliti is known for snorkeling and for diving. There are diving spots where you can book a tour and they will take you to a deep diving spot and snorkeling. We did not book a tour because we didn't want to dive. We just wanted to spot turtles. It's very, very basically famous for spotting turtles. And there are lots of places along that main road where you will see Turtle Point written. So you
Oh,
can go and sit at any of those places. I can show you a picture of one of the cute turtles that we spotted.
oh yeah.
This is a turtle, and you could see many such turtles. Turtles are easy to spot. You just need to go to a turtle point. When you go there, it is managed like you have again beach beds there, so you can order food, you can order beverages, and they also give you all the equipment. So if you want a life jacket, you want a snorkeling device. We also rented a GoPro, which is how we've got all of this footage. So you can rent everything that you need from there, and we spent about 2 to 3 hours just spotting turtles. We spotted, I think, around 13 to 15 turtles easily. So we spent a lot of time there, and we were just in the sea exploring. Sorry?
That sounds really fun.
Yes, it's great to be there. It's good. If you're tired of snorkeling, you can just go take a beach bed and lie down for a while, and then you can go back to the sea and spot the turtles again. You can keep ordering food. So it's a very, very relaxed vibe. Like I said, this island in the morning, it's so relaxed. And the water here is a beautiful shade of blue and green, something that we hadn't seen in other parts of Bali. So I think definitely worth a visit. And we went to this place called Jali, which is known for meals. So it's a famous restaurant there. We took a bike, like a cycle, and we cycled there. It's slightly towards the end of the island, so it took us 15 minutes to cycle to that place, but the food was very, very good. So Jali is a place that I would recommend. Other than that, in Giliti, like I said, that we ate at the night market, and otherwise I mostly ate at our property itself.
When you were snorkeling, apart from turtles, did you spot anything else, or was that mostly a turtle spot only?
It was because we went to the turtle spot, we saw only turtles. But if you take a tour, you can see other, like you can spot fish, etc. Also, you can spot corals. Because we went just to the turtle point, we saw just the turtles.
Okay, okay. So if someone's not into diving, they could still snorkel and spot a lot of things.
Yeah, and you didn't have to really go deep into the sea. They were like very close to the shoreline itself. So if you
Okay.
don't know how to swim, like I don't, I took a life jacket and I just saw lots of turtles which were closer to the shoreline. Of course, if you can swim and you can dive, then you can take a tour and go deeper and see other creatures as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good to know that even if like you can't swim or you're not going to dive because that requires like time, preparation, and all of that. So
Exactly.
yeah, you could still like see things.
Yes. So this was Gilly. It was fairly short. Like I said, we didn't spend a lot of time here.
Yeah.
And this is what we did. And mostly people come to Gilidi for the diving experience or for the party experience. But I think even if you don't want to party, it's perfectly fine. You can spend your time at the resort. You can spend your time by the beach having those barbecue dinners, and or you can go to different clubs if you want to. So it's got a bit for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
And all those places organizing, hosting parties for sunset, I think they're definitely worth it because they don't have loud music. They just have nice low music in the background, and the sea breeze is great during the evening. So it's perfect that way.
That's great. Yeah, that is for everyone. Like there is something to do for everyone over there. Yeah.
So then I think, move on to the final destination, which is Nusa Dua. So essentially from Giliti, now we go back to Bali and we go to Nusa Dua. So, from Giliti, we now had to take a ferry back to Bali to Nusa Dua. And this is a slightly longer ride because it took about 5.5 hours. So, how we booked tickets is there are lots of ticket counters on the road, so it's not quite a hassle. So, just a night prior to our departure, we went and we booked the ticket, and we told them that we want to go to Nusa Dua. So they suggested the port that we need to get off at, and it was Sanur. So we took a ferry the next day. Like I said, it took 5.5 hours because it also stops at Gili Air. It has 1 to 2 stops. It's not a direct ferry that you get. It's a longish trip. So by the time we reached Nusa Dua, it was evening. Now, Nusa Dua is a place which is known for its resorts. So, all of your luxury resorts, be it Hilton, be it Westin, or any of the big chains that you can think of, they all have a property in Nusa Dua. And which is also what we wanted to experience because it's luxury, but it's affordable luxury. At least for us coming from India, I think it's way more affordable in Bali than it is in India. So, Nusa Dua, we were here for another 3 nights, and we stayed in Weston, and we did 2 day trips here, and I will cover them. 1 day trip is to the world famous beach club called Fins, and the other day trip is to another island called Nusa Penida. We reached by 5 p.m. We were very, very tired. So we took a shower. They had a fire show at night, which is what we witnessed. And then we just had food at the property itself. And because the next day we had to spend our entire day at Fins, which is the beach club. And in the morning, we had their breakfast buffet, which was a massive, massive spread. It had great options, great food. So we had a big breakfast and then we decided to go to Fins. So Fins is in Seminyak and it is just about an hour away from Nusa Dua, at least from Weston. And we took again a cab, which is Grab. We booked Grab and we went to Fins. It's got lots of beach beds. It's got beach beds inside the pool. It's got beach beds outside of the pool. It's got beach bed by the beach itself because it's facing a beach. So anyone can enter Fins. There is no fee or no reservation required to be at Fins. But if you want to have a beach bed to yourself, then you need to have prior booking because if you just walk in, you're not going to get a beach bed. So we had already booked it in advance, even before like from India itself. This is difficult to get. So I would say as soon as you plan your Bali trip, if you do want to visit the beach club, you should book your bed in advance. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. It's more expensive over the weekend. So we visited it on a Thursday. So we got it slightly cheaper. And we didn't take these big beds. We took 2 single beds outside of the pool and they were fairly comfortable. So this is a party place. So you can see there are people chilling inside the pool. There is a bar inside this pool itself where you can get cocktails and they've got some great cocktails. And they've got 3 restaurants inside this place. So you can order anything that you want to. So the restaurants cover all kinds of cuisines. There is Japanese, there is European, there is Indian. So, there's a sushi counter. So you can order whatever you want to and they serve it to you. If you have, like we had booked a beach bed, so they would come and we would order our food and they would come and serve it to you at the bed. We spent a lot of time inside the pool. The pool is not deep at all. So even if you can't swim, that's perfectly okay. You can be in the pool and you can enjoy it. You can go to the beach also if you'd like to, which is open access. Anyone can go to the beach. So we spent the entire day here. We came around 1 p.m. and we left at 7 p.m. Did nothing. And there is like just had food. We were in the pool. We went for the beach for a while. In the evening, they also have an area for DJ with music in case you want to dance. They do body painting for you. They just come around and do body painting. There are some performances by the staff. It's got a great vibe. Anyone and everyone is going to enjoy it. It's got fantastic food, fantastic beverages, and a beautiful view. Again, this place is known for its sunset, but with our luck, we did not see any sunset because it was cloudy. But I would recommend pre-booking a beach bed so that you can lie down and relax for a bit in between, and you can spend the entire day here. You should, because you want to see how it looks in the evening. You also want to spend some time during the day where you can just be in the pool. So one day was just fins, and then we headed back to our property. And because it had been a long day, we just ordered in food in our room, watched some Netflix, and that was it.
Yeah, it
Uh,
has a really cool and cozy vibe. Like you would want to spend your time here.
If you are going in a big group, it's even better because you can have a lot of fun. There were lots of parties, I would say, like there's a bachelorette party happening here, and people were celebrating their anniversaries, and people are very friendly. The staff, as well as the other people, the tourists, and they've got great safety measures in place. So you will not see any unruly behavior or anything. It's safe and it's very friendly. So this was the entire day at Fins. Moving on, our last spot was basically Nusa Penida. Nusa Penida is basically the place where you have the famous T-Rex beach. So if you can see the way this beach is framed, it looks like the face of a T-Rex dino.
Yeah.
So it is popular for this. Nusa Penida is very close to Nusa Dua. It's just a half an hour ferry from Nusa Dua. So we took a ferry and we went to Nusa Penida where we saw this beach. You can go down to the beach, like you can walk and go down to the beach. We did not do that because it was very sunny that particular day. This is the only day where where it was too hot and we couldn't explore everything. So we didn't want to step down and go all the way down. It would have been a bit of a trek. So we saw this beach, and there's also something called the Broken Beach. This place, we visited this as well. So we did a day trip. We reached Nusa Penida at about 11:30 a.m. Then we rented an Activa. And from that Activa, we first went to the Broken Beach, which is this. But it's a bit of a walk to the Broken Beach and to the T-Rex beach. So you need to be prepared for that walk. You need to have proper shoes because it's not a cobbled path. So you will need that sort of proper footwear. And we saw this beach, we saw the T-Rex beach, we had lunch just randomly by a cafe that we liked on the way. And then we headed back to Nusa Dua in the evening. We reached around 5 p.m. And then it was our last day in Bali. So obviously we went and we took a massage in a parlor close to Westin. So in Nusa Dua, the massage parlors, they offer pick up and drop services to your hotel. So we booked a massage and they picked us up from Westin. They dropped us there. And again, for dinner, we just ordered in because, we were exhausted and we were going to take the flight back the next day. So we wanted to just have it easy, not venture out at night. So we just simply ordered in food in our property.
Oh, that's nice. The color of the water at this broken beach is really lovely.
Yes.
It's a beautiful blue.
Nusa Penida and Gili, that is the only two places where I saw this emerald blue green sort of water.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Of course, from Nusa Dua, we didn't have time. For those who do, you could also go to Uluwatu. There is a famous temple there. That is again by the beach on a cliff, similar to Tanalot, but obviously different. We did go to Olavatu, but you could. And there is also another famous bar called Rock Bar. Since we'd gone to Finns, we did not go to Rock Bar, but anyone who's interested, they could go to Rock Bar as well.
Hmm. So these were the two spots that you missed out during this first trip to Bali.
Yes, from Nusa Dua definitely.
Okay. So
So this
thanks for
is our itinerary, yeah. So this is our main itinerary.
yeah, thanks for taking us through each of the spots and telling us all the details about them and all the tips also that you shared about what to book in advance and where you can sort of just get a ferry by going to the port and finding it directly. So yeah, that's pretty cool that it will be really helpful for people who are planning a trip and visiting Bali for the first time. So that will be really great for them to have these tips handy when they're planning. You've already covered a little bit about the accommodations that you stayed at,
Yes.
but could you tell more about each of them? I think we
Uh,
didn't cover the one in Ubud, especially.
Yes, definitely. So basically, what we did is we wanted a mix of budget friendly and luxury properties. So that's how we decided our properties. In Ubud, we took an Airbnb, and I will go into detail. In Giliti, like I said, we took Ponte Villas, which is a mid-range property, and in Nusa Dua, we stayed at Westin, which is a luxury property. So this is how we had divided it. I can talk about Ubud, where we had booked BNB. It was Kesametan is what it is called. We booked it via the Airbnb app. So Ubud has a lot of villas that you can book, and they are very, very affordable. So what we wanted was something with a private pool, and some rooms with private pools in hotels and resorts are very expensive. So therefore we decided we'll do it via a BNB. This is our property in Ubud. So it was a villa, which basically meant that it came with a room, a small kitchen where you could prepare meals if you wanted to, and a dining table, and this open area which comes with a pool, a private pool overlooking a sort of a jungle. I think it was definitely worth the money. It was not too expensive. It looked like they had shown on the BNB website, the app. It was exactly the same. And it was quite calm and peaceful. The view from the villas were also very nice. It basically opened into a sort of a big field with very green cover and lots of trees. So if you can see, this is actually right outside our villa. So there was the pool inside,
Okay.
and as you stepped out, you stepped into this greenery. It was beautiful. This particular villa was a little away from the main city center, about 10 minutes on an Activa. But we didn't have a problem with that because we knew that we would rent an Activa. So we didn't want something which is exactly in the city center. Because it was away from the center, I think it was peaceful, which is absolutely great. And everything, even in this area where we were, they had cafes around, they had shops around. So your basic general stores. There's a shop from where you can exchange your currency. There was a shop where you could rent a bike from. So it had all the amenities, the area itself. But it, of course, it was not the main Ubud area. But the great part is that nothing from this accommodation was too far. So the monkey forest was also 12 to 13 minutes away. The main market was 8 to 10 minutes away. If you wanted to go to the ridge and take a walk by the Camphone Ridge, which is again popular in Ubud, that was around 5 to 7 minutes away. So it was a great location, I would say, good value for money. The thing is that this property from the main entrance to the villa is a bit of a walk. We didn't mind that, but anyone who has any sort of knee issues or people with children might find that slightly challenging. The staff was very, very friendly, super helpful. In terms of meals, breakfast is included, but it was not bad, but it wasn't the best. So I wouldn't say this is a great place if you want room service or in terms of food. But since that was not our priority, we had a great experience here because we could just step out and eat if we wanted to.
Okay, that's pretty great. Yeah, you said that the neighborhood has a lot of options.
A lot of options. Like as soon as you step out of the property, you will have 3 to 4 cafes all around you.
In Ubud, you mentioned you took an Activa, but is there also like public transport available, or you can just book a cab maybe?
You can
Yes, sir.
book a cab. So you can Grab is the main app that they use there. If you download Grab on your phone, you can book it. They are very easily available. They mostly take for maximum 3 to 5 minutes to get you a cab. And there is no language barrier. Like, of course, they may not understand English as well, but they know it well enough for you to be able to commute. In any case, their app, the location it gives is so accurate that even you don't have to commute and communicate, etc. You don't have to coordinate essentially. It will reach where you are.
Okay, yeah. This property, the photo that you have especially, it looks really great. It doesn't even look like, you're in a property. It looks like you're in an attraction or something, like a field
Definitely.
already.
So if you want something outside of the main core city, because the core city has a lot of traffic also, so it tends to get noisy. So if you want to be away from that, I think it's a great option. And at night, you could see stars very clearly. So open sky, stars. It was just very, very serene.
Sounds lovely for a quiet stay.
So yeah, it was Ubud. Then we went to Giliti and we booked this place called Ponte Villas. Now Giliti, because there are no modes of transport other than a cycle, and like I said, everything happens on that main road. So we definitely wanted to be on the main road. This is actually at the end of a main road, but it's still there, so we liked it. We had looked at this property on booking.com and it had great reviews and a very good rating. And then coincidentally, a friend had also stayed here and they highly recommended it. So we decided to go ahead and book this. As you can see, there is the pool in the middle and all rooms are on either side of the pool. So there are two such sections in the property looking absolutely same. We had booked a deluxe room. So that was the one towards the end. That is the bigger room, which came with a open jacuzzi, which is why we had booked that room. So we booked this room for this, and it was a beautiful property. As you could see, it was all white. It's in shades of white, minimalism, but very, very aesthetically done. So it was very, very good. The breakfast was included. They have a set menu. They give you options. They have different options, different kinds of egg. They have food. They have cereal, fruit platter, etc., which is very, very good. So breakfast was great. Other than breakfast, there is room service. So there is everything is available and you can order it and they will just get it to your room or by the poolside or by the beach, wherever you are. And the food was good. It was quite decent, quite good. So we did, if we were at the beach or if we were in the pool, we tended to order a lot of food from the property itself. We also rented our bikes from them. So that was also taken care of by the property. They give you a beach bag with beach towels and everything. So whatever you needed for the beach was also provided to us by this property itself. The staff was extremely helpful. And that's not just here. I think overall in Bali, the staff hospitality is great. So the person at the reception suggested the turtle point to us, and that is how we went. We decided that we'll go to that particular turtle point, and we saw lots of turtles because there are multiple such points across the island. So I think this property is great for everyone because there is room service and there is a pool. If you don't want to step out, it's right next to the beach. The only thing is, maybe it's a 3 to 4 minute walk from the main entrance to the reception area. But it's a fairly easy walk and you will not face any issues. The staff is there to receive you at the gate. They get your luggage to your room. So it's very, very comfortable.
This sounds like a great property, and it also looks very aesthetic and very Instagrammable.
Yes, it was beautiful and very clean and great ambience. And finally, at Nusa Dua, like I said, we wanted something, we wanted luxury basically. And that's why we chose the Westin. It has many other five-star hotels and properties. But based on our budget and the location, we chose Westin because it is quite in the middle of Nusa Dua, and there are other properties. So Nusa Dua is filled with just resorts. So where Westin is, next to Westin, adjacent to Westin, there are other properties also, and they all share the beach. So this is what it looked like during the day, and it had a beautiful pool. It had two pools, in fact. It's a massive, massive property. It has all amenities that you can think of. It has spas, massages, all sports. You can like cycle inside within the property. It has two pools. It has got all sports, everything. So if someone wants to just be at the property, there would be a lot for them to do. Of course, it's expensive being a five-star hotel, but I think it was worth it. We got an upgrade because we were members of the Marriott app. So we got an upgrade also. So our room was very comfortable. It had a balcony, it was big enough, it had a television. The buffet that they serve, which is included in the tariff, is massive, so big, and it's got fantastic food. Other than that, we mostly took room service and ordered in food. I would say food was a little pricey. It was good, but not the best. So on the last day, we actually had dinner at the property right adjacent to Westin, which had better food and it was much more reasonable. But overall, I think we had an amazing, like the best experience we could, and it was totally worth the money and the decision to spend on this particular property.
That's pretty great, yeah. And it was a good decision that you made to sort of distribute your between the three
Yeah.
locations that you
Yes.
visited. The considered decision to stay at different budget type accommodations as well.
Yes, and the thing is that, like I mentioned, the property is big, but they have golf carts, so you can easily move from one part of the property to another. So they have all of these amenities, so you're not going to face any issues while staying here. And they help you book cabs if you needed one. They give you all sorts of suggestions. So we booked a massage parlor, which was again close to the property. And if you step out, you see the local market also there. You see a few local places to eat in case you want to venture out this. And we went to Fins from here, which is in Seminyak. So Seminyak is also just an hour away from Nusa Dua. And Nusa Penida also, like I said, is just 30 minutes away from Nusa Dua.
Yeah, and the property helped you out with all of the
Yeah.
things. Okay. Yeah, so I think we've covered all of your trip now with the three locations that you visited, places you saw, as well as the accommodations.
Yes,
So, coming to
definitely.
the next part, what tips would you have for first-time travelers who are planning to visit Bali? I know you've already sort of, peppered your itinerary with the tips that you could offer, but any other suggestions that you might have?
I think I would say like we went for 8 days, but we felt that if we had 10 days, it would have been better because, given the commute between islands and the day trips, I think if you can at least keep a minimum of 10 days, that's sort of ideal because then you can explore at least three cities slash islands quite comfortably. I would say definitely visit Fins, the beach club, because it is touted as one of the world's most popular beach clubs, and it was definitely worth the hype. So
Hmm.
if you can go to Fins, I would also say go to Gili. So it is outside of Bali, but it's got such a different vibe and it's such a different atmosphere and different kinds of beaches that it's worth a visit. In terms of logistics, I would say that you can carry currency like in dollars, US dollars, or even euros, and then you can basically exchange it in Bali itself. Instead of carrying their local currency, it's better to carry something like dollars and exchange it there. There are innumerable exchange counters throughout Bali, so you're not going to face an issue. If you
Hmm.
have a credit card or a debit card, that also works very well. So you don't necessarily have to carry a lot of cash because they're great with accepting online payments. And you get a better exchange rate if you use your debit or credit card. So instead of cash, opt for that. And if you are carrying cash, carry dollars. instead of their local currency.
That's a
Finally, I
pretty
would
good tip.
say take as many massages as you possibly can. They are so worth the hype, the money, everything. I have never had received a massage like this anywhere else.
And it's the right destination for it as well. When you're
Yes,
near a beach, you definitely want to relax and calm down. And
it,
what better than a massage for it?
absolutely. So definitely go for massages.
Yeah, those were great tips. Thank you. Now, you've already covered a lot of things, but what would you say was the best thing about your trip to Bali? Like something that you enjoyed the most?
I think overall, what this made this trip great. Of course, it's a beautiful place, but also the people. People in Bali are very, very friendly, and you feel safe, and you can seek help. And it's got a bit of everything. So it's got nature, it's got all of those adventure activities if you wanted to do them. It's a party place in that it's got your clubs and bars. So I feel it's a good mix of everything, and the fact that the people are very friendly and food is also easily available. So if you're a vegetarian, there are more than enough options. If you want to try the local cuisine, you have that. But otherwise, if you want, you always have European meals also there. There are Indian restaurants there. So it's very, very welcoming and it's comfortable.
Sounds like a great destination. So, would you go back to Bali?
100%. I think I couldn't explore all of it. But so there's so much more that we can do there. So I'd like to go back. And also, I loved my experience. So it's a place that I'd want to go back to.
If you go again, will you visit the same cities and locations, or are there new ones that you want to explore?
Some new ones, but I would want to spend more time in Ubud also, which is their main city. But because, we took some day trips and we were also tired the day we reached, I think I'd like to spend some time in Ubud again and then explore places such as Uluwatu. Like I said, we couldn't we couldn't explore some of the temples and even like the Gate of Heaven, which is very popular there because it all required more time.
Hmm. Okay, that's really good to know. And I hope that you get a chance to go to Bali again and visit all these spots that you missed out on your first trip.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Tanvi, and taking us through your trip to Bali. It has been wonderful getting to know the location through your eyes, and I've definitely enjoyed talking to you and seeing the pictures and the beautiful destinations that you visited. So it's been a great session. Thank you so
Same
much.
here. Thank you for having me.